talk to you a little bit about gravity in painting, the idea of using gravity for your benefit, the idea of always knowing where your paint is flowing. This way you can create the illusion of depth. My master's degree is in sculpture. That's why I'm so heavily into creating this illusion of sculpture pieces on a flat surface, the idea of creating the illusion of incredible depth in happens to be a two-dimensional surface. Here's an example. I have live in Sedona, a place called Tlaquepaque where I enjoy painting. The light was very subdued, rather boring and whatnot, so I waited for it to come shooting through. This, by turning, letting it flow this direction of light, I was able to get a lot more interest in this scene, as you can see. Watercolor is especially great for creating the illusion of movement around form. This is a couple examples here of reflected light and flowing light, where basically you want it to flow right around the form. One tip that I have for you is whether you want to paint directly up, which I do in my studio, or just put an angle on your surface so you can create a little bit of gravity, because you always know where the paint's going to go when you have it at an incline. If it's flat, it's like a wave, not sure whether to come on shore or not. If there's an angle on it, then you'll always know that it's going to be falling down. So you can spin it around. Normally, I'll always have an angle on it. So this is just a piece of foam core with some shelf liner, little Velcro on the side. You can see I've used it. I teach a lot of workshops, and this always goes into my case. Score it with the shelf paper or the shelf material, Velcro it like this, and you'll always be able to have an incline on your surface. Now when I have that, I basically can work with form going down. So just a couple quick strokes here, putting water down, creating some of these situations where I have form. This is the light coming from obviously from the right. Where is your light coming from? You are painting light on things, not things in light. In other words, you're painting the light, the quality of light that's flowing around the form. So just remember that it's not necessarily the beat I'm painting here, but it's the light on the beat, and so on. So let's go ahead and just show you a simple sphere using gravity. Now you can see the beads of water falling. So I know exactly where that little guy's going, right here. Maybe fall a little bit of a shadow form. Now there's a little empty spaces here called holidays. That holds the water from swooshing too much. So those are very simply put in for a certain reason. I'm just going to show you a form. I'm going to start out with just a little bit of wash of a warm red. Make sure we have a paper towel going. I think I might even use a little bit of salt like I did on these beets. Let it explode. Let it fall as it will. Move it around. Let's find out how far we want it to flow. As it goes around the form, we're going to go from the lit side to what's called the form shadow. That's going to be a little darker, and it might even have some viridian in it to tone that down. Let's get that in there and let that form come rolling around. Now we'll go for the dark part, which is where we want it to really have its punch. The darker we go in the form shadow, the more light that's going to go. In this case here, this surface didn't have a highlight like the highlight on this apple. Why would I have done, how could I have used that? I might have used masking fluid on that one. So let's go back in and turn it this way and have it come right into it. Let that reflective color come into it with a little bit of violet, and you have an instant form in light. You see? Try practicing these things quickly and spontaneously. It's really fun. You use the brush, a little bit of salt. Let's see if it's coming out here. And what'll happen, just for experiment's sake, you'll have this, after the salt dries, you'll have a situation like this that might have some real neat, great, cool effects. One thing that's so much fun about watercolor is that incredible exploration of splattering, like this, salt, and just let it have a ball. I use American Journey paints mostly because I love the way they mingle. I love the idea of the splattering like this. Okay, this one here is, I used a little bit of masking fluid there, and then when I did the leaves, I used the palette knife to carve into it a little bit, and then again, I'll just show you with this red, make some line work. Works really great, so I did that in here. So enjoy.